The NFL trade deadline is 2 weeks away, and teams are testing the waters on improving their teams. Dallas Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones said that his team is, quote, open for business, but he's willing to take things slow and wait for calls to come to him. Let's bring in our Ryan Wilson with 5 trades that the 3-1 Cowboys need to make before the deadline, and it's 5-1, not loosely in terms of any priority importance here, but let's start with 5 here, R-Dub, and Jerome Ford.
Hey, Tommy, good to see you. Yeah, so let's start on the offensive side of the ball. And as you sort of noted, this is in loose order. Not a lot of needs offensively, but I went with Jerome Ford, the running back, currently on the Cleveland Browns. They have 2 rookies in Cleveland that are playing pretty well at the running back positions, particularly Quinshon Judkins. Javonte Williams, in his own right, is doing quite well for the Dallas Cowboys in recent weeks, but there's not much depth behind him. Jaden Blue is finally healthy. They're a rookie, and I think Jerome Ford comes in right away and at least gives you a plan B to give Javonte Williams a break with Miles Sanders on IR. Again, not a lot of needs offensively, Tommy, especially with CD back in the mix, but a little help in the running back room by the way of Jerome Ford.
Okay, so a little bit of depth there, as you mentioned, with Javonte Williams and Jaden Blue. What about Mario Davis at number 4?
Yeah, so linebacker has been a revolving door of needs for Dallas. And, in fact, the defense, we can certainly talk about that for the rest of this segment. Demario Davis is a veteran, and I say that in the nicest way possible. He's not a spring chicken, but he is still playing at a high level, and he also plays for a team in New Orleans that could be interested in moving him. Dallas, meanwhile, has been banged up at this position. DeMar being overshown. The window's open on his 21-day return coming off IR. He has battled knee injuries twice now early in his career, so he hasn't played. Kenneth Murray has been okay as a veteran, but again, there's need there for upgrade. Demario Davis comes over, and he's going to be an immediate contributor and play a ton of snaps defensively for the Cowboys.
If we move on to number 3, you've got a couple of names, more of a positional need. It's interesting because we had Lige Douzable with me yesterday who brought up Tyreek Woolen. You're also adding Jeremy Chinn in there. So what is it about Reek and Jeremy that could certainly help Dallas at this point?
So Reek Woolen, and I'm sure Lige probably said something similar, long, physical, athletic, ball skills cornerback who hasn't quite played up to the level of his rookie season when he was considered a steal as a former day 3 pick. He's struggled a lot this year, not just putting it politely. That said, sometimes you change scenery, good things can happen to you. Just ask his current teammate Sam Darnold about that. And again, huge needs in the secondary for the Dallas Cowboys, both outside at cornerback, where Reek Woolen would fit in, and then Jeremy Chinn, who you mentioned, who just signed a 2-year deal with the Raiders this offseason. Given the way the Raiders' season is going, they might be willing to move on for some players. And the great thing about Jeremy Chinn is his versatility. He can play in the box. He can play free safety. He can play some slot. Better coming downhill than playing in space. But these are all needs for the Dallas Cowboys. And again, we're talking mostly defense, Tommy, because unless, and this could be a realistic possibility, Dak Prescott is going to score 44 points a game, they're going to have to shore up this defense and do it quickly over the next 2 weeks. All
right, getting down to number 2, it's interesting. You're targeting a team that might sell in the Saints, much like perhaps the Jets. Give me a second Saint so far that we have here in our conversation.
Yeah, maybe Demario Davis and Carl Granderson could carpool over from New Orleans to Dallas. The edge rusher drafted originally out of Wyoming. He's just 27 years old. He plays at a high level. We don't talk a lot about him for whatever reason, maybe because he plays on a team that's struggling right now. Has 5 sacks, and as I mentioned, just signed a deal a few years ago because he earned that deal. And more importantly for the Cowboys, you get some help off the edge. We know that Micah Parsons is no longer in Dallas and just had a huge weekend against the Cardinals for the Green Bay Packers. And Dallas is holding it together with duct tape and chicken wire at this point, Tommy. But they have to get some pressure off the edge and perhaps some pressure on the interior of the defensive line as well. We can talk about that, too.
Yeah, and at number 1, you do have Jeffery Simmons, which, by the way, I think at last check, the Titans says he is not available. But you never know 2 weeks out here. If that were to come to fruition, what type of fit would he be in Big D?
Yeah, this is a let's go nuts trade scenario, something that only Jerry Jones could conjure. You talk about the Titans aren't interested in moving him, nor should they be. He also suffered a hamstring injury on Sunday, so his availability might be a few weeks out from where we currently sit. They do have that extra first-round pick, Tommy, the Cowboys do from the Packers, and that Micah trade. I don't know if you want to use that on Jeffery Simmons, but Jerry has done crazier things, and he is an immediate impact player when healthy. And then you put him next to Kenny Clark, and then suddenly everything else is less important in terms of the linebacker play and the secondary play because there's so much pressure created with those two players in the middle of that defense. And I should point out that rookie Donovan Ezaraku, the edge rusher out of BC, is flashing a little bit. So while there are needs outside and inside, Jeffery Simmons is, you put that in the pipe dream category, but not out of the realm of possibility when Jerry Jones is involved in any negotiations.
That's Ryan Wilson with 5 trades the Cowboys need to make as we stand 2 weeks out. Thank you, R-Dub. There it is in no particular order, although Simmons is the one perhaps most unlikely and the best fit. But there it is. One offensive player, the rest on, of course, a defensive side of the ball that needs improving at Jerry World. That'll do it for this hour, CBS Sports HQ. Folks, if you missed anything, we had a full house in here today for the NFL, fantasy, and the NBA's back tonight. If there's anything else, we'll bring it to you right here on HQ.
Cowboys Nation, this is it. This is the time. The NFL trade deadline is closing in fast, and the Dallas Cowboys are standing on the edge of a defining moment for the 2025 season. You can feel the tension in the air, the anticipation among the fans, and most importantly, the intention from inside the Star in Frisco. The Cowboys are not sitting back. They're not watching this season unfold with crossed fingers. No, they're doing what real contenders do, evaluating, targeting, and preparing to strike. And the message could not be clearer. Jerry Jones said it himself, we're open for business. But this isn't panic, this isn't desperation, this is strategy, this is patience, this is calculated aggression. You don't just say you're open for business unless you have something to offer, and the Cowboys do. They've got assets, they've got cap flexibility, they've got extra picks. But more importantly, they have an opportunity right now, in this very moment, to fix the cracks in an already dangerous team. To take a roster that's shown real flashes of dominance and polish it into a postseason powerhouse. Now let's get into it. The Cowboys are 3-3-1 right now. They've looked electric at times, questionable at others. And if there's anything holding this team back from consistency, from taking that next step, it's depth and balance. The top-level talent is there, we've seen it. But as injuries pile up, as rotations stretch thin, it's the lack of reinforcements that's exposed. Let's start with the offense. Javonte Williams has been doing the heavy lifting in the backfield. He's fast, he's physical, and he's been consistent. But Miles Sanders is on injured reserve. Jaden Blue, the rookie, has potential, sure, but he hasn't been able to lock down that RB2 spot. And in today's NFL, where backfields have become committee-driven, Dallas can't afford to leave Williams without reliable support. That's where Jerome Ford enters the conversation. Ford might not be a full-time every-down back, but he doesn't have to be. What he brings is explosiveness. He brings experience. And when he was pressed into a lead role back in 2023, he delivered over 800 yards rushing. He's also a threat in the passing game, something this Cowboys offense could definitely use more of, especially in high-pressure third-down situations. Adding Ford doesn't mean you're giving up on Blue. It means you're building around Williams. It means you're protecting yourself for the long haul. It's about being smart and proactive, not reactive. But let's be real. The biggest issues facing this team aren't on offense, they're on defense. And that brings us to the core of today's conversation. Dallas needs to add muscle and playmakers to its defense. The loss of Michael Parsons was a massive blow, and while the front seven has managed to hang on, it's clear that reinforcements are needed if this team is going to compete with elite offenses in January. So who's on the radar? Let's talk about Demario Davis. This man is a veteran, a leader, a tone setter. He's not just a stopgap. He's a day-one impact player. And at linebacker, where Dallas has been hit hard by injuries, Overshown still recovering, Kenneth Murray doing his best but lacking consistency. Davis gives you intelligence, tackling, and sideline-to-sideline coverage. Imagine pairing Davis with a young core that includes Shamar James and Bland in the secondary. That experience he brings would ripple through the entire unit. It's the type of leadership this team needs during a playoff push. But that's not the only name on the board. In the secondary, Dallas is reportedly eyeing Arik Woolen and Jeremy Chin. Now let's break this down. Woolen might not be having his best year, but you can't coach his size, his speed, or his instincts. A change of scenery, the right system, and a little confidence could unlock that potential again. Put him opposite DaRon Bland, and suddenly the Cowboys' outside coverage becomes a real strength. As for Jeremy Chin, his versatility is exactly what makes him intriguing. He can line up in the box, roam as a free safety, and even cover slot receivers. His physicality and downhill burst would give Dallas flexibility, something they've sorely lacked since losing key defensive backs to injury. We're not done yet. The next name is Carl Granderson, an edge rusher with 5 sacks on the season, still just 27 and playing at a high level on a struggling team. He's physical, he's smart, he wins with technique and effort. With Micah Parsons gone, Dallas needs someone who can generate pressure from the outside, and Granderson checks every box. Which brings us to the wild card, Jeffery Simmons. Now look, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm not even saying it's even likely. But if Jerry Jones wanted to go all in, to make the kind of statement move that shifts the entire trajectory of a season, this would be it. Simmons is a monster. He collapses pockets. He takes double teams and still gets pressure. Put him next to Kenny Clark and you're changing the identity of your entire defense. You're freeing up linebackers. You're making quarterbacks panic. You're dictating terms on every down. Yes, it would cost a premium pick. Yes, he's nursing a hamstring right now. But if he becomes available, and if Dallas is serious about a championship window, you don't hang up the phone. So here we are. Offensively, the Cowboys are sharp. CeeDee's back, the O-line is healthy, Dak is playing clean football. They're averaging over 27 points per game. That's playoff offense. But on defense, they've got to make a choice. Do you hope guys come back healthy in time? Do you trust the young guys to grow under the pressure of a playoff push? Or do you make a move? Do you go get someone like Davis or Chin or Granderson? Do you send a message to this locker room that says, we believe in you and we're adding the last pieces to finish the job? Because make no mistake, the NFC is wide open. The Eagles are good, the 49ers are dangerous, but the Cowboys, they've got the firepower to hang with anyone. So now the question goes to you, Cowboys Nation. What would you do? Would you pull the trigger on Jerome Ford? Would you offer a mid-round pick for Demario Davis? Would you swing big for Jeffery Simmons? Or do you stay the course and trust the guys already in that locker room? Let me know your take in the comments. Do you agree with this plan? Do you think we're one player away from something special? Or do you want to hold those draft picks and build through the offseason? Either way, make your voice be heard. And if you're rocking with this team, with this ride, and with this channel, do me a favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe, and keep it locked in right here on Cowboys Nation Report. We've got more breaking news, more analysis, and more heart-pumping Cowboys content coming your way. Because this season, it's not over. It's just getting started. And we ride together. Let's go.